Connecticut pride, Vermont's green hills take it all in stride. Massachusetts traffic we grip and we grind with a Dunkin' iced coffee and no peace of mind. So New England, stand up proud. Shouters think we shout it loud. From Fenway Chance to Rhode Island pride, New Hampshire's try live free or die. So New England, with Ian Brownhill.
Good friggin' morning from New England, folks, and welcome back to episode 47 of the So New England podcast. Once again, brought to you by MGM Springfield. So shout out to them for making this all possible, because we have an incredibly special guest for you today. So without further ado, RJ, why don't you please give us an introduction?
I was so excited writing this one, so.
Let's hear it, pal.
Have you ever heard of Rikers Island? Or maybe Guantanamo Bay? Well, if you haven't, they're prisons where bad people are locked up. And for 15 NFL seasons, that's the treatment opposing wide receivers got when they looked across the field at this man. As the song goes, locked up, they won't let me out. Many wide receivers checked the schedule before the season started and saw New England on the schedule and said, damn, it's going to be a long day for me.
That's right.
And although he is born and raised in the lovely state of Pennsylvania, once I say his name and throw some of these numbers at you, you'll know why he always has a place here in our beloved New England. Two-time NFL interception leader and five-time Pro Bowler, our guest was an absolute menace for receivers on the defensive side of the ball. So let's just jump right into it, because I'm so freaking pumped. I used to play with this man in Madden. We welcome member of the 1990s and 2000s All Patriots teams, 2000 All NFL team, 2014 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, and member of the 2019 class for the NFL Hall of Fame.
Damn.
And if that wasn't enough, he has 3 Super Bowl rings, baby, with our beloved Patriots. So without further ado, with the most pleasure I could muster up today, our guest, Mr. Ty Lowe.
Oh, man. Made me want to get back out there and run through a wall, man.
I was just going to say, how's that feel hearing all those accolades?
To hear that, man. I ain't heard that in a while.
You deserve it.
Can't do none of that no more, though, but
I tell you what,
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate the love, man.
Hey, when I shook your hand, I was like, all right, damn, yeah, he can still do it, because that shit, that was... Well, Ty Law, man, this is insane to even say your name and sit down in front of you like that. So thank you so much for jumping on with the, So New England podcast.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me. And New England is home for me now. You know what I mean?
I love to hear that.
I'm from Pennsylvania, but I'm a New England now. They, been adopted, accepted, and, I'm here.
Absolutely.
For obvious reasons, too.
For very obvious reasons. I'd love to get a little bit of backstory. Sometimes we get so engulfed as NFL fans and just only knowing the player, the number, and the jersey, and not necessarily their entire story. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your life prior to the New England Patriots, and then what that experience was like for you as a Patriot.
Well, for me, growing up in Alico, Pennsylvania, is that's who I am. I don't know if you listen or seen my speech at the Hall of Fame. It was primarily about, where I come from. We very, very, very prideful, about that. And by the way, we're working on a little documentary. I got to give you a little taste.
Oh, okay.
What we got going on, but we're the only high school that has 4 Hall of Famers.
Oh,
okay.
We football is life and death around there. I mean, that's how we look at it. That's tradition. So I grew up, wanting to be a professional athlete. I wanted to be a professional football player. I played basketball. I played baseball, but I lived football. You know what I mean? That's what it was about, where I come from. So, it was just ingrained in me at such a young age that this is what I want to do. You know what I mean? Since I was 7 years old, you just couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to the NFL, and no one tried to smash that dream or anything. I was always encouraged, but just the competitive juices, that was a way out, for a lot of us around there.
That's awesome.
And those amazing. 4 Hall of Famers, by the way, Mike Dicker first, my uncle Tony Dorsett, myself, and now Darrell Revis. So we got 4.
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's a legendary.
And countless others draft, but
of course,
no other town high school has more than 2.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Ty, I got to do this because this is my best friend right here, my co-host, RJ. This man has the longest run in football history for our high school.
Oh, yeah.
Turkey Thanksgiving football day.
Turkey Bowl?
Oh, my
Turkey
gosh.
Bowl, baby.
We had
99-yard scramble. Could have been like 103 when he went in the end zone.
okay.
It technically was 103, but the line of scrimmage counts. But just because you're here, I'll say that.
All right.
It was 98.
Brag,
It
come
was-
on
Okay,
now.
that's what's up.
Yeah. No, it was. We play Stonington is our rival town, and we could be going to the Super Bowl out of the playoffs 0-something, but if we win that game, that's what matters.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of the, I believe in New England, I've never checked outside of that, but it's definitely one of the biggest in New England, if not the biggest. I think it's top 20 in the whole country, but it's really cool.
Like longest standing matchup
rivalry,
between towns.
Yeah. So, and it's
Okay.
really cool because they're Connecticut, we're Rhode Island. So we don't play them in the
That's not
season
typical.
at all until
Oh,
that day.
okay.
And
Okay.
every year on Turkey Day, we play. It's a big thing even when, we graduated class of 2010. So even now I check the score around that time just to
Oh,
be
yeah?
like, wow,
Okay.
let's see what happened. Let's
Yeah.
see what the record is now and make sure my record is not
Right,
touched.
right.
It was only close by one person. And actually the funny thing is we coached him as a kid. JC almost broke it. I never
that's
told
right.
you that. But it was that close to being broke, but he
Okay.
couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Didn't
We
listen
just
to
got
me.
to get him in front of Kraft, and then
Yeah.
you'll get a one-day contract.
Okay.
I believe you still got
Pull
it.
my
Tight
hamstring
hamstrings
in
and all.
that day. Below
Yeah,
an
I just
Achilles.
pulled mine.
Oh no.
Day
Yep.
before yesterday, trying to run.
Oh,
Yo,
jeez.
I got it to like a month ago. My dumb ass. Oh, I'm sorry. I ain't messed up your part. This ain't no.
No, you can
Christian-
swear.
This
Yeah,
ain't
yeah.
no Christian podcast.
No,
man.
no, no.
I'm
you can-
sorry.
Let it fly.
Okay, well, my dumb ass was trying to race my cousin.
Yep.
And man, I pulled both of them. Yeah, that's when you know you old.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm lucky the Achilles didn't go. I mean, 2 hamstrings in the quad. So time went past, so I'm just jogging down in Florida. I just came back. Same thing. I tried to open up just a little bit,
Yep.
get where I'm going. Hey, it's over.
You can feel it,
You know,
right?
sometimes when
Yeah,
you
you
ain't
gotta-
feeling right, I mean, when you're feeling okay, it's like, oh, I got 15 more plays in me. I think, yeah, I can train. I can get back out there and
Yeah.
see some of this shit I see out here.
Yeah.
Man, no, it's over. It's over.
Well, it was a different game when you played too,
Yes.
compared to it is now. Because I feel like, and I mean, this is something please attest to, the difference between the early 2000s to the ball you see today. Do you feel like it's more catered to the offense and kind of, takes away from what defensive guys can do? Because I mean, I think the hitting is okay. Like we all want that out of the game because we don't
Yeah,
want
I
anyone really
mean-
hurt. But
You want the hitting, out of the game. You want to protect players. I mean, I'm always, I'm all for protecting players, but at the same time, we signed up for playing football.
Yeah.
Before you were afraid to go across the middle.
Right.
You see Rodney Harrison, Lloyd Malloy, and Ed Reed, Ronnie Lottie. You see guys, you don't want to go across the middle.
Yeah.
You're scared, you're nervous, you're looking around. Now they know they can go across the middle.
Right.
So it's different, and I think a lot of it, the game is catered to not only the safety of the players, but more so Vegas, to me, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's about fantasy and all the money that's being generated,
Right.
Through the gambling aspect of it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So even when you're talking about fantasy, how often do you see individual defensive players? Usually the
that's
whole
valid.
defense.
Right.
it's the whole defense.
It's the whole defense. It's not necessarily that. So I think the game has evolved in a way that can actually hurt. I like the fact that players can get paid more and play longer.
Right.
But when we had 2 a days, Coach Parcells used to tell us, "Ain't no light at the end of the tunnel." You know what I mean? We were 20-some straight days. I swear, with 2 a days, and you don't do that anymore. So
Right.
it's the game has got a little softer.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
No, absolutely, because they're trying to generate, like you're saying,
Right.
more revenue.
Right.
The
But-
healthier these guys are, the bigger the big names are healthy and on the field.
Right, exactly.
More asses and seats, more bets through Vegas. It's like,
Yeah, more bets through Vegas, but watering down the game.
Yeah,
even
100%.
Some of these things you can't touch nobody. It's like everybody need to wear, a red shirt for quarterback. You know what I mean? In my opinion, you touch the quarterback, can't touch that in practice. But it's like, come on, man, we want to see somebody get the shit knocked out of them every now and again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Absolutely.
football. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
that's how I grew up. So sometimes
Right.
I'll be like, man, if I'm playing today, I probably wouldn't get no check. I know I'm getting something out of every check because they're gonna find you
Yep.
for every little thing.
Right.
But again, players get to play longer, make more money, take care of their families. So, I'm for that. So, I mean, I think that's the most important thing at the end of the day, but you don't want to devalue the game. And I think if you keep making every rule, it's just like, why are we really debating the tush push?
right. That's
Stop it. Ain't
Right.
nobody getting hurt for that.
Right.
Stop it. You know what I mean? Figure it out. You know what I mean? So it's just that sometime I wish I was up in the damn committee to say something, but I'm gonna stay here and just comment like this and come on the show like yours.
Yeah,
Say my
that
opinion.
works for us.
Hell yeah.
What went into your decision making with playing defense? Like, what was the defining factor when you were getting your career off the ground where you're like, you know what, defense is where I want to be?
Well, when I went to most places coming out of high school, I got recruited as an athlete. So when you see mine, they might have had an idea where they wanted me to play, but I got recruited as an athlete because I could have played offense or defense. So when I went to the University of Michigan, which I made at the last minute because I was committed, I was going to go. My first choice was Clemson. I was going to go to Clemson, but the guy that was recruiting me, Ron Dickerson, he ended up going to be the head coach at Temple. I'm from Pennsylvania, and there's no way in hell I was going to Temple. You know what I mean? That wasn't going to happen, so I wasn't following him. So my second choice was Georgia Tech, which I actually verbally committed to Georgia Tech. Probably for, my aunt was down there, and I had a hell of a visit. Oh, man, you talking about a visit? What? Oh, I had a damn good time. But I said, when I came to my senses, I said, you know what? I'm just going to go to Michigan. I was the last recruit, and I went there not based on – it was the dumbest no, it wasn't the dumbest reasoning. Let me say this the right way. I didn't make a sound decision based on the University of Michigan, a great education program, and who they are as a football team, the history. I didn't know none of that because they were never in my top 5 schools. Coming out, I was being recruited last. I was actually on my way to Ohio State to take a visit. I didn't even understand the rivalry with Michigan and Ohio State. They begged me not to go to take that one last visit. I wasn't planning on going there, but I wanted to, take my last visit. Buddy that I played high school ball with, he was at Ohio State. So I was just going to take the visit. And I was like, you know what? I'll come because they played 5-6 games on TV. So my grandfather could see me play. It was very important for my grandfather to see me play. And I said, I'm not going to go to Pitt or Penn State. I've been getting recruited for them since, 8th, 9th grade. So I went to Michigan based on my grandfather to see me play because they played so many games on TV, and they just got their ass kicked in the Rose Bowl. I was like, oh, I'm going to go there. I'm going to find a place to play, not knowing when I got there that I was like the 11th guy on the depth chart. So when you go see your name on the wall for offense and defense, I was on both, and I was way down here on offense, way down here on defense. Your name is in red. Because basically that means you're going to get red shirted. You're right. So I was like, I'm going to go to the defensive side of the ball just because I seen what happened to them in the Rose Bowl. And I said, somebody's job is taken. I'm gonna get one of their ass. Just being the confident guy that I was at the time. Maybe a little silly, arrogant. You know what I mean? But I was like, oh, I'm playing. I ain't not getting no damn red shirt. Not knowing how it worked. But fortunately for me that I chose right. They might have had an idea that they wanted me to play defensive back, but they didn't expect me to come in right away and start as a freshman and end up leaving in 3 years. Yeah. The end of the draft, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Interesting.
That's what happens when you come in and absolutely lock people down.
Yeah. Hey, I was sizing up everybody too. Even the guys that you heard about that had the big names, the All-Americans coming from, Amani Toomer coming from California, #1 receiver, the Texas boys, the Florida boys coming in, all that yapping. And, I'm sizing everybody up. I'm like, cool, but
yep.
Hey, I'm sizing your ass up. I'm going to whoop your ass. I'm going to whoop your ass. I'm going to whoop your ass. I was going down the line, everybody that I seen because, I wasn't trying to be that cool with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Love that.
Love that.
And so the transition for you then, because if this was what you had your eyes set on the entire time, what was the transition like making it to the NFL? What did that feel like?
I mean, it was life-changing for me and my family because it was, it was a lifelong dream, but, financially where we were, where I came from and needed the help. And that's why I left school. Yeah, believe me, if I had an NIL, $20,000, $30,000, let alone $3-4 million. If I had $20,000-$30,000, damn it, I was staying in school one more year because I wasn't highly touted draft pick. I left school. I wrote to the NFL and they said that I'll be because at that time, as long as you don't hire an agent, they can give you an idea where they think you might go. So I wrote to the NFL. First of all, y'all couldn't evaluate me that quick. The shit came back too early. It's like, I'm 4th through 7th round. I said, okay. And I'm better than that. But If 4th through 7th round, I just got to prove myself while I was there. But because where we were at financially, I had to make a decision, and I went for it. But, I would tell anybody else in my position at the time, stay in school. I would say that, stay in school. And that's why I love my agents to this day. After they did the research, it's like, man, you might want to stay in school, but y'all don't live like I live and what I need to do. So I'm going to go for it. You know what I mean? And it worked out, for the best, because I ran well. I left school to go train at the University of Pittsburgh. I left Michigan to go train with it was Lee McRae and Roger Kingdom, the track guys, just before my pro day, and it worked out. It worked out. 23rd overall, ended up going in the first round.
Yeah. Crazy.
I got booed up here in New England, though. Let me tell you,
listen,
they booed me.
We're not going to apologize. We light a fire under our players' asses.
Yes.
That's what we do.
But I was sitting there because they wanted a running back. At the time, even though we got Curtis Martin in the same one, who would have thought. And me and Curtis, we knew each other since high school. You know what I mean? Him going to the University of Pittsburgh. So it was a good thing. And New England, it was also funny. I didn't want to come here, bro.
No, this is perfect. You transition. My next question was,
exactly.
What was it like for you coming up here to New England? So why didn't you want to come here?
Because they put me in the damn end zone. I'm like, you going to the pros, you're going to see something. I'm thinking I'm about to see this type of stadium that was like, it was old Foxboro Stadium. You know what I mean? That was like,
jeez.
I mean, all the
Mass
history
Mutual
and all
might be
that
better
stuff.
than the old Foxboro Stadium.
Goodness, man, damn high school stadium better than that. But, they put you in the end zone. I'm like, damn, where's the Marriott? Where's you think you're in the pros, Ritz-Carlton or something.
Yeah.
I'm over here thinking like, damn, is this owner broke or something? I mess with Mr. Kraft about that all the time. I'm like, damn, you put us up in there, but look at it now. You know what I mean? And it was actually the best thing that ever happened, to me, to being, in New England, at the time. And all I seen was Route 1. Where was the infrastructure out here? Where's the communities? I didn't see anything but Route 1 coming in there. So, I'm like, okay. Dallas was interested as the draft process went on. They were actually at and I grew up a Cowboy fan because of my uncle, Tony Dorsett, of course, but as also they had the 28th pick, so they were actually there with me to take me to Dallas if I would have made it there. Detroit, coming from Michigan, wasn't very good, but at the same time, I'm already up there. My college guys is there. My college girlfriend is there. So they were considering taking me at 21. And the media made me think that I was going there. I had the whole Detroit media there, and I was in there like, I guess I'm going to be a Lion at this point, because that's all everybody's talking about. I think Kuiper, everybody had me there. And they ended up trading for Luther Ellis. And he went there, and I didn't know where I was going to go after that. Except unless I got down there to Dallas. But they said if we get down there to 28, fine. But 21, 22, money going down.
Yeah.
It's slotted back then. Money going down. But again, Dallas Cowboys would have been a dream come true because I spent my summers there, with my uncle. You know what I mean? So I knew Dallas. I was like, man, it's fate. It meant to happen. Then got the call from Nancy Meyer, and she said, man, I'm going to be a Patriot. And I was okay. Let's roll with it. I was shell shocked when I got here just to see, the facilities coming from Michigan too. I mean, University of Michigan, we had at that time, it was the top of the top.
Right.
The facilities, I'm playing 100,000 people, every week. What the hell is this? This is the pros?
Yeah, right.
I guess they put the money in our pocket and not the facilities.
Like the steel stadium seating.
Yeah, exactly.
The
the locker room was trash,
crazy.
Everything.
Yeah.
I've always been so curious about
no parking.
Because you see now with social media, you see everything. So you see a lot of stuff inside the locker room, especially in college now. But some of these guys have recliner, $5,000-$6,000 chairs, massage chairs you can sit in.
Yeah, they got the TV,
stuff.
the flat screen, and got the USB ports and everything. It's unbelievable.
That's probably what's also making them soft. Maybe those hard Foxboro seats got everyone,
Yeah. But even the stadium now, compared to what they're doing, they got to do some upgrades.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's evolving.
They're working out. They're doing it right now, right?
They're doing it right now. Yeah, you have to, because this stadium is actually getting old now compared to all
all
these
the
other
other
ones.
ones. Yeah. So your game day prep, I'm imagining it had to be pretty specific and like unique to you. And I've always been curious the mind of a professional athlete, especially someone as yourself that competed at such a high level for such a long time. What kind of prep goes into keeping yourself at that level? You know, like some guys come in and they say, oh, I won a Super Bowl, but to win 3 Super Bowls, to take over a city, a town, a state, an entire region, the way you and all of your, fellow teammates did, what kind of energy goes into that for you? Like what do you feel like you had to sacrifice, and what did your prep look like?
I mean, for me, the sacrifice started when I was young by just chasing that dream, you know, and once you get there, the journey is not over. You know, I think I was with Mike Reese, my first interview. You know, he's with ESPN now. I could say that's a good friend of mine. I say that's Mike Reese from the Daily Bugle, because he asked me something. I was like, what paper you for, the Daily Bugle? You know, and so that thing we've been talking about that ever since. But, you know, my first interview was like, I want to be a Hall of Famer. Because he asked me, what do I want to do? I said, go to Hall of Fame. So it rubbed a few people the wrong way. But the way I was thinking about it at the time, and I stand by what I said, I'm like, you know, because they asked me right up, don't you want to get your first Pro Bowl, your first this, you know, first big contract? I said, no, if I shoot for a Hall of Famer, the Pro Bowls, it got to be there, because that's the only way you're going to, hey, the big contract is going to come. You know, the interceptions, the numbers, everything is going to come if I'm saying that I want to be a Hall of Famer. You can't get to this point unless you qualify in all these areas, you know what I mean? So I knew exactly what I was saying, but of course you got to have somebody like, you never, because I hadn't even suited up yet. You know what I mean? This is just the first interview.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's how, you know, I look at things, and going in to try to win. You know, you shoot for the moon and try to make it there. You know what I mean? If you land amongst the stars, okay, great. But, you know, I'm not going to go in there and say, oh, let me get my first tackle first.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get your interception, first interception. I'm supposed to do that. I'm trying to do what I'm not expected to do, or, you know, it's just, you ain't supposed to do that. No, that's how I look at, you know, the game and the sport, and that's how I motivated myself. Now, once you get in there with the other guys, okay, you're always competing, even though you're on the same team. We're still competing, you know, out there. We competed with drinking water, bro. Swear to God, it was always something. If you ain't drinking the water, if somebody pick up the gallon, because we all carry gallons, if you ain't taking a sip, you ain't hydrating. You know, if I sit there and look at you and be like, you got to take a damn sip, because we ain't catching no cramps out here. You know what I mean?
That convinced me. I got
Push-ups,
it.
you know what I mean? Anything like that. You miss a play, you late. You know what I mean?
It always seems like that too. When you see documentaries about the time frame from that, like, early 2000s, because we're all 90s kids. So when we were 9, 10, 11 years old, that's when we were old enough to like really understand and watch football, which was perfect because we're in New England.
We were there, baby.
And look what you guys did. So it was like, you know, you see some of those big personalities, the Vrabels, the Brewskis, the Willie McGinnis, and the Rodney Harrisons, and you're like, there's no way that those mouths were quiet. You know, there was so much, and you see it.
It's a good thing that we probably didn't have social media and all that stuff back then. Like, I mean, because, man, we held you accountable. You know what I mean? That's one thing about in our locker room, you know, when they talk about the Patriot way, you know, that was, and I think Belichick, you know, gets, you know, the credit for that, or people say Tom or whatever. No, the Patriot way was created in that locker room from the 100%. Players. It ain't had nothing to do with, you know, Bill Belichick. Is how we policed the locker room. Tom was just young, so he can't create a damn thing at that point. You know, he was young, so he had to get in where he fit in. Of course, he is the greatest of all time, but at that time, we established, you know, a presence, you know, there, and accountability there, you know, throughout the team, you know, and a lot of those big heavyweights were on the defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And
I don't think you guys, honestly, looking at it, there wasn't a bad player on that defense. Even the 5, 6, 7 rotation guys on the line, you know, nickel corners, like, there wasn't a bad player on that team.
I mean, we had such a great team, and it wasn't you know how some teams I've been in where you felt like it was a bunch of individuals. But we were really a team. We really supported one another. And again, the accountability factor that, hey, if I mess up or if I'm doing something wrong, if I ain't giving the energy, I'm going to hear it from Lawyer. I'm going to hear it from Rodney. Willie McGinnis is going to give it to you. You know what I mean? Teddy Bruschi is going to get up in your face, and say, yo, get your shit together. You know what I mean? And vice versa. And we all didn't take it personal because we had to step our game up. I got to be accountable, so we can win. It was about winning football games. So if you think back on some of our early success, it was always somebody different coming up with the big play.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the same guy. It was always somebody different. If I get the interception, guess what? Damn it, Otis Smith about to try to get one too. Or if he got one, I say, I got to get me one.
Yeah.
Because Otis ain't got one.
Well, that helps when some people make interceptions in the Super Bowl now, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Doesn't it, Ty? And I tell Vrabel, I say, thank you, Vrabel. That was the easiest damn interception I've had because that's the kind you usually drop. Swear to God, man, because I'm like, no, he didn't just throw that. You know what I mean? And I'm used to diving and trying to jump over somebody to try to get it. And you gotta, but that one right there, man, it was coming like in slow motion. It was crazy. So, but I give Vrabel the credit for that, for, making him throw that ball like that.
Yeah.
How you feeling about Vrabel being the new head coach?
I love it. I love it because one, I had success with him, and then he has a automatic respect from everybody in there because when you look around there and you see those championships, you see those banners, you see your head coach was a part of those first three. He was the one that started it, man. So you can't look at him as a lot of times as players we can look at a coach and be like, really, dog? You know what I mean?
Right.
And in respectfully, but sometimes, I had to ask coach one time, I said, have you ever had, you telling me to do this technique, have you ever had Randy Moss running at you full speed? And no. So you can sit there and talk about it.
Right.
But you never experienced that. You know what I mean? So when Vrabel was saying something, just like Gerard, he played the game at a high level.
He did.
But this man is a 3-time champion. He played, he went over there and played offense, got touchdowns. He's proven himself as a coach already. You know what I mean? He's been around. So it's like, hey, I just don't like the way it ended with Gerard.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you talking about as far as the replacement and who you're going to bring again, they brought in the right guy in Mike Vrabel.
Right. Agreed.
So you mentioned a name there, and I got to ask, and you probably get this question all the time. And you can say Randy if you want, because we would understand. Who was the guy that when you saw the schedule, if there was anybody, where you were like, yeah, that's going to be a tough one for me. I gotta get ready.
I mean, you got to bring your lunch bucket with, and one, I always wanted to challenge because I had the top guy on every team, you know what I mean? So I look and I say, all right, I know I'm going here, and if Belichick ever tried to change that, that's when we had some problems. Contract time, and you're going to sit there and say, we're going to change the defense. If we're going to say, hey, we want you to take number 2, and we're going to double number 1. Bullshit. I got him. I got Marvin Harrison. I got Eric Mose. I got Keyshawn. I got this guy. I got that guy. You know what I mean? I had to go in there. We had some times at times with that because he just wanted to change the defense up. But I would say Jimmy Smith always was like, man, you got to come work with him, man. I think he's one of the best, most underrated receivers of all time, man, because he can play. He was actually, most receivers, in my opinion, they soft for shit. But he wasn't. He gonna fight you. And he's fast. So anytime somebody can be as physical as I am when we're playing against each other, because normally a receiver, you're just trying to get off and go get the ball. You're trying to catch the ball. You ain't trying to fight. Jimmy gonna fight with you. And then if you fight with him enough, he will outrun you. So you knew that you had to be on your A game because you wasn't gonna bully him. Like I was more of a bully, playing. Like if I get my hands on, most receivers, I advantage to me. You know what I mean? If Marvin Harrison get by me, it's advantage to him. But if I grab him, if I sit there and put hands on him, advantage goes to me because he's smaller, he's quicker, you know what I mean? So, but Jimmy, he had it all. And I'm like, man, that's why I say it's such a respect, there. And I respect, of course, Randy Moss, if you're talking about the best of the best. But it's like matchups. It's like boxing. We matched up, well, my strengths, his strengths, they were like the same type of thing. You know what I mean? I didn't have a problem with, the TOs or anything like that. Not saying that he didn't beat me or I didn't get him, but you talking about each and every play, Jimmy Smith, he Randy can go like this on you. That play, he can just beat you at any time. You know what I mean? You get all those different. T.O. was strong. He was fast, but Jimmy just had to package it, and he had the mentality to go with it. And I think that's what might have separated him from a lot of receivers. He had a DB mentality, a linebacker mentality with receiver skills, and that was the difference.
That's a dangerous receiver.
Mm-hmm.
How about quarterbacks? Was there ever a quarterback that always just frustrated you, like you felt like you just couldn't get?
No, I mean, because I was always of the mindset, if I got the receiver cover, I don't give a damn who the quarterback is. I mean, what could you
You're
do
doing
to
your
me?
job.
Yeah, but it was only one quarterback that early in my career that it was Dan Marino. He was the only person that can consistently, because they tell you to throw away from the DB to put a receiver, but it's hard to do when you're moving so fast. Dan Marino was the only one that can place the ball like low into the outside. You know what I mean? To where if I'm riding the receiver, if I'm on the side of him and trying to make a play, he can throw it out here consistently. So I had to figure that out. So now, once I intercepted them, I wouldn't have had to give them a sign.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was not getting back on, because he's from Pittsburgh. I was not getting back on that plane from Miami without Dan Marino signing this interception ball. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have had to, because I looked up to Dan, a Pittsburgh guy, but he was good like that, man. As far as placing the ball, no one did it, as good as he has. In my opinion.
That's great. My father's going to love to hear that. He's a big Dan Marino guy.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean? So he was one of those. Most people wind up, but Dan he just flicked that thing like that. And then once you get the timing of it, but you got to learn. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason.
Yeah. How about practicing with Tom? What was that like?
I mean, practicing with Tom was great, but again, earlier in the career, we gave him a hard time.
Yeah.
We had to, to make him step up his game. You know
right.
what I mean? So, he just fit right in. Everybody always asks me, was Tom this, Tom that? Tom, he grew into Tom, which was great. You know what I mean? But in the beginning, he didn't come in. It was like, hey, he's dope. No, we had a guy named Drew Bledsoe there.
Right.
But, we all know who's the greatest of all time. He's not just quarterback, in my opinion, greatest football player of all time. But he wasn't that in the beginning.
Right. Right.
He was 199 pick for whoever did that one for, I don't know. But, so no one knew that. Everybody always talk about when it comes to, Tom, he's set as the standard now. But back then, 199, come on, man.
You weren't worried when he laced him up.
And then we had Drew. I mean, if you talk about who had the stronger arm at the time, it was Drew.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even close.
Right.
I mean, Drew Drew ripped plenty of gloves, because that's when he had the little leather ones, right? Drew swinging that thing and,
Ripped the glove. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's hard for our generation too, because we were just at that time where Drew had a name for himself, obviously, just got a big contract.
And $100 million contract.
Yep, got a big contract, but it's they're winning without him because he's hurt. And it's but just let him go then. Because we didn't know. We're young, we're kids. We're so now it's a lot different because you kind of, especially you see the documentaries, you listen to what the players say, and it's wow, I can't believe that happened. That's crazy to think.
The business part of it, what I mean? I've said this plenty of times that, hey, when you get $100 million contract and you the face of the franchise, it takes some balls to, for a coach, to come in and say, no, this is our guy after giving him a contract. So now you got to sit there and deal with the owner. Mr. Kraft's hold on, man. That's $100 million.
Yeah.
I need to see him on the field. Rightfully so.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, credit to Bill Belichick, credit to Mr. Kraft for letting Bill, do the job that you paid him for and let him make that decision. But it wasn't an easy decision. We didn't know, either with Tom. We at the time were primarily, a defense of the strength. No, the strength of the team was on the defense.
Right.
So
100%.
We didn't know what to count on with Tom. So we can't sit there and we can't complain. Somebody got to play quarterback, but we just didn't know. No one knew that he was going to be who he is. We was just don't mess it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Just don't mess it up, young buck. You know what I mean? We give him a hard time in practice and we kill him, but his competitive fire and his juices, bruh, can't get no better than that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what are you supposed to do when you're a young guy?
Right.
You're supposed to show that type of energy. You're supposed to type. But Tom, man, to see where he started to where he is and who he's become, it was absolutely incredible. So the work ethic was always there. We just didn't know or have time because we in the middle of the season to see how good this kid is or not, because we just got to play football. So if we do our job on defense and you keep it simple, we're going to have a chance to win.
100%.
And that's what we did early on. And then, you know, Tom just slowly but surely became that much more confident, and the rest is history. And like I said, I don't even put him in the quarterback conversation because that's not a debate.
Right.
You're talking about this is the greatest football player of all time, in my opinion.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Talk to us about playing in front of the New England sports fans and crowd. Because, obviously it was, like you said, it was a bit of a shock when you first got here. And, we joke about how our personalities are pretty strong. But it is, the reality is we are a tough crowd to kind of win over. But then once you have our loyalty and we love you, we love you unconditionally like nobody before. So
again, that was part of my motivation too. Like I said, I didn't come with a lot of fanfare. Of course, yes, it was late in the first round. Of course, you wanted a running back. I think at the time they wanted, my college teammate, but he went earlier, Tyrone Wheatley. They wanted a running back. You know what I mean? So I was motivated from there because I got booed. But as you start to play and win them over here in New England, hey, they're going to support you. They're going to ride with you. But everyone talks about the New York or L.A., Chicago media market. This thing right here, brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, New England fans, media is brutal. So you got to earn it, to earn that respect, or they're going to run you out of town. You know what I mean? So that's where I come from. You have to earn it. You know what I mean? Like, I was prepared for this before Michigan. That was easy. The pros is easy. You think that I never heard MF before when Parcells talking? I was like, that don't even sound right. Went to college, they try to curse you out or whatever and be strong about it. Man, I can say what I really gonna say on this podcast. You know what I thought my name was? Growing up at home and on the football field? Motherfucker. They like, motherfucker, go here. I mean, the coaches, that's what you are, you little mama. So that's normal. You know what I mean? Where I come from, my mom, hey, motherfucker, give me some cigarettes. Go to the store. That's what it was. So the language, when I got to college and the pros, I'm like, that's it. Parcells, you can't say something before to me. I'm like, that was it. That was weak. That was soft. I'm used to so much more. So much more behind that one. You know what I mean? But New England, hey, I love it, man. I mean, they embraced me. After I proved that I can play, and I've been here ever since. You know what I mean? Marcus Allen told me a long time ago, always keep a place where you get famous. I didn't know how to take that before because I wasn't famous. I was just a young guy in the league. But, you look at your OGs, and Marcus Allen told me that, and I never forgot it. And I was like, you know what? I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now because they always going to give you a chance. Even in business, they you guys, because you're still in New England, you embrace it. And, give me an opportunity. I can't come with no bullshit now. You come with something nasty.
Yeah, you're going to get us drunk. You better get us fucking drunk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Don't mess around.
So there's a standard that, that's expected. But if you meet those standards and those qualities, New England fans are going to love you forever.
Absolutely. So, and I love that because it's a good segue to kind of talk about your vodka here. So why don't you tell us about how you started this business and how you got involved?
Oh, okay. Well, I was in the business before Corvus Vodka, the official vodka, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, too.
Okay,
we got Tito's ass out of there.
Yeah.
But official vodka, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I give a portion of every bottle I sell back to the old school guys that inspired me that need some financial assistance or whatnot, because everybody didn't make millions of dollars, man. That's what people don't understand.
Such a fallacy that people think.
The gold jacket, oh, he's a millionaire, he made millions. But hear the stories now that I'm in the room with some of those guys and the blessings that we were able to get from their sacrifice is being forgotten, and I want to be able to do something about that, through my business to give back to those guys that inspired me. you know, the one question I always get is like, they say, why just the Hall of Famers? Because I wasn't inspired by the son bitches on the bench. Yeah. I'm inspired by these guys that you see it on TV. That's who made me want to play the game. So I want to be able to do, you know, give back to those guys. And like I say, they had to get jobs in the off season. You know, before he passed, I'm sitting there, you know, getting to have a conversation with Jim Brown. You know, the greatest. You know, the only person that Tom can't walk in the room and be him is when you sit next to Jim Brown. He's no longer here. He had the ultimate respect from everybody, but to be able to have a conversation with him, be able to be in that same fraternity before Franco Harris, you know, I'm Mean Joe Green, and just sitting around with just the guys, you know, my peers and the guys that played, you know, prior, you know, to me, man. It's an incredible feeling being around there. You know, I can talk. I shut the hell up when I'm with them. You know, I just sit back and just, you know, just take it all in to this
aura.
day.
It's their aura.
Man, it's the aura. It's crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And understanding that, you know, I'm a part of this, you know, fraternity.
Yes, you are.
But man, I still got to pinch myself, to be honest with you. You know, that I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, you set the gold standard in New England, because now, as for us, when we watch guys and we get guys in the draft, if they played corner, we compare them to you.
Yeah,
that's facts.
When you had Asante Samuel, the Stephon Gilmore, Darrell Revis, this you know the young kid
all
Christian,
24 too, besides Asante too. So it's 24 when you put
yes,
that
it
on.
is. It means something.
You better come with it.
You better come with it. You got to bring it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like it. You know, when people talk about, you know, the whole thing with retired the numbers and stuff.
Yeah,
like I think it's a great, you know, honor for somebody to do that. But at the same time, the more we out, the more you get forget about. You know what I mean? So
that's a very good
when you
point.
have somebody like a Stephon Gilmore come, you know, at me and had the success that he has, guess what? They still bringing my name up. You know what I mean? Guess what? Now you got another Aliquippa boy, you know, Darrell Revis come. You know, I helped get that, by the way. You know, that was me, y'all. That was me, y'all. Everybody,
Thank
Darrell
you for
Revis,
that.
yeah,
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I called Belichick myself, make it happen.
I love that.
That was
you know, when you get somebody as great as he was to come and don at 24, you got to think how many Super Bowls as the Patriots won. I think all 6 had a 24 at cornerback.
Revis, Gilmore, Ty.
Look at
that.
So
100%.
it was always number 24 starting at cornerback. You know, not me, but people that was great in their own right. You know what I mean? So whoever comes in and wears that number playing DB, playing corner.
It means something.
Because I like what we got now. I say, hey, man, like, I wish he was wearing 24. You know what I mean? Gonzo, that dude can play, man. You know, he's next. He on deck. You know what I mean? So I love what they doing. I think Vrabel's gonna, you know, turn it around. But again, it's a standard to be held. If you don't play, we talking. Hell, I'm going on the show that I'm on. I'm talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we earn that right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You set the standard for what it is to be a Patriot.
Yeah, exactly. And the standard has not been being stood up to.
Yeah.
You know, as of late. You know what I mean?
A little too comfortable, I think.
It's time to change that, but you have to have the players.
What would you say was the hardest thing to learn growing up?
Probably learning how to like use, save, or spend money.
You legit worked in banking, did you not?
You're welcome.
Are you still with Dime Bank, or are you too Hollywood now?
Okay, rude, but yes, I am.
Imagine your followers finding out you're with a Connecticut-based bank.
Okay, first of all, they have a branch in Wesley, Rhode Island, which is where we grew up. So really, that's brownie points because I'm sticking to my roots. Second, I think everyone would appreciate that I'm with a bank that knows and understands their community. Their tagline is legit, community banking lives here.
Hey, I'm not asking you to sell me on it. I've been banking with them for years, and they know me on a first-name basis. I'm just saying I'm surprised is all. I can see the headlines now. Mr. Anti-Connecticut actually banks with local community bank?
Okay, you know what? Follow along with me here. They're FDIC insured, equal housing lenders, wicked friendly. They take care of all my personal needs, have expansive products to help all my businesses, offer lending across the board, merchant services. What more could I possibly want or need? And you know that I secretly like Connecticut, so.
Oh, I hope you heard that, folks. Dime Bank is the reason Ian loves Connecticut.
Okay, you're ridiculous. Funny story, though. You know how they have like the mobile app with like banking, Lifesaver, you can do all the deposits. Have you tried to teach your mom how to do the mobile deposit
No.
yet? I was teaching my mom how to do it, and she takes a selfie instead of the check. Visit dimebank.com to learn more.
This is a tropical right here.
That's a tropical
It's
one?
tropical right here. So
Okay.
we got tropical. We got three.
So these are your three
Fruits.
flavors in total?
Yeah,
three?
yeah.
Okay.
So I have three SKUs. I ain't trying to be Baskin and Robbins and shit. You know, I had 35 flavors. Too many SKUs, man. Too many SKUs. But no, but the grilled pineapple is very unique. I'm surprised no one had grilled pineapple. You know, I grew up on grilled pineapples. My grandfather made grilled pineapples, and mom. So it was a snack. So
Yeah.
no one got grilled pineapple. Come on, man. That's crazy. So I got on it right away, and I went to, the flavor house myself, because after, how they send it to you, and when you're, doing the business, you're doing remote stuff, Zooms, send it to you, you're tasting over there, man, too sweet, I don't like this sugar. It's different ingredients. You got to just go down the line. After the 7th, 8th, I'm like, look here, where y'all located? And I went there, and I left out there toe up from the floor up too, man. Oh my God! But my daughter was a designated driver. My daughter drove me, and because oh my God! But I didn't leave until it was done. So I'm very involved. I put up my own cash. Me and my partner, we I own it 100%. Me and my partner, we own it 100%. No loans, no nothing, guys.
That's
so,
it, man. I
need everybody out there. This is what we drinking from now on in New England, especially New England. Corvus Vodka, the official vodka of the Hall of Fame.
Love that.
Corvus, Latin for Black Raven, because I'm a bird guy before. My bird is 28. My daughter's 25.
Oh,
So I had a bird before I had kids.
that's awesome. A raven too, right?
Yep.
Love me a raven. I usually have a little raven
The
present.
smartest
Pass this along to them.
creatures on the planet. So while you
producer
check it out,
Vin.
tell them what it represents. Read that back. Tell everybody what that is.
Right here on the top.
Yep, right there.
Corvus Raven symbolizes intelligence, knowledge, partnership, guidance, insight, and protection. I love that.
That's
Love
awesome.
that. I love me a raven.
One more for me.
Oh yeah, there
I'm
you
in
go.
there.
Okay. You ain't get yours right there?
Not yet.
That's
Thank you. That's mine.
As we call this shot o'clock. It's always time. Anytime you pull it out, it's shot o'clock. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank
Cheers,
you.
everybody. If you're at home listening, you got some, take a shot.
Oh yeah, go on,
that's
grab
good,
it. If it ain't in your local liquor store in New
It's
England,
so smooth.
we got to prove something to them and tell them we serious about this. Just walk out.
Yeah.
Just would let them know you ain't got court. We gonna go spend our money somewhere else.
I love it. That's a good segment talking about New England. So we're the So New England podcast.
Okay.
So the segment here is called the So New England segment.
Okay.
I'd like to ask you some New England specific questions, and I'm
Okay.
assuming, you've been here long enough
Yeah.
at this point. We've adopted you, so you might be able to answer some of these.
Okay.
Question number 1. Do you have a favorite New England style food? For example, clam cakes and chowder, lobster rolls, anything like that?
I just got it. Look, I was always a clam chowder. I love the clam chowder up here. All clam chowders are not created equal.
Facts.
And I like the grilled oysters too. I like the oysters up here, you know what I
okay.
mean? But they're not all created equal too. So you got to get them right. Like the ones that's too damn big, I don't like those. You know what I mean? That's too big. But clam chowder, I would say, New England got the best.
That's right.
Yep.
I love that.
Very true.
How about we have 6 beautiful states here in New England?
Mhm.
Any chance? Have you visited all of them? Have
Yes.
you all right. So
Corvus Vodka's in all of them, all over New England. Yes.
rank the best.
Yeah, huh?
Rank the best. 1 to 6.
Okay. See, when I played, I lived in Massachusetts, but now I live in Rhode Island. So it's a little more laid back, chill. Depends on what you want. Do a lot of business in New Hampshire. Connecticut, don't know that as much. Half of them is split.
Yeah, that's right.
From, Patriots fans to Giants fans.
See that?
I don't know much about Vermont. We got Maine, but don't they got moose in Vermont?
Yeah, they got and New Hampshire.
I like animals. I don't like them that much. They walk around free, so Vermont got to be last because they got moose walk around like dogs and shit. I ain't trying to go up there and do that. You know what I mean? But I gotta go. You know what I mean? But one, it's hard, man. To me, New England is one. I really it's hard
fair.
to sit there. New England
That's
is one.
true.
To me,
I love
you know what
that.
I mean? 'Cause that's what
That's probably
I
the
tell
best
people,
answer
like,
so far.
It's fortunate for me to be in New England and being, an entrepreneur and a businessman. You talk about, your fan base of people that will support you is 6 states. Most people I'm from Pennsylvania. If you live Western Pennsylvania, okay, you like Pittsburgh. But if you want to go, hey, that's Philly territory. So you get that. New England, we got a whole region. So
That's
we
it.
can do all right by our damn self. Like you New England podcast. You ain't got to be, you want to go here, but you ain't got to do a damn thing because you got your fan base right here.
Right.
I have my fan base right here, and I'm okay with that.
That's awesome. I love that. All right. Well, then if you were going to add another state to New England, what would it be? You traveled a lot of places, but a lot of football.
I love Florida for the weather. I have a place in California as well, but I'll say where I'm from. I never forget where I'm from. You know what I mean? Pennsylvania is close to my heart.
That'll be a first for us on the podcast. Right? Pennsylvania getting added.
That's who I am. You know what I mean? So I always got to put those guys up front. If you ever watch it 15 years on Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, I've always said Aliquippa from day one. So when they say, where you from? Ty Law, cornerback, Aliquippa. I never said Michigan, not one time, because that's how much I feel for my hometown and where I'm from. Love Michigan. Shit, go blue right now. You know what I mean? But when it came down to, if I got to make a choice, I'm going to always go home because I wouldn't be who I am without that experience of growing up in Aliquippa.
That's amazing. And I think that's probably why you ended up enjoying New England so much, because I feel like while we are a huge region, each state has its own small community. Like, especially you're in Rhode Island now, and Christ, we've got, 52 towns in such a small friggin' state. It's insane.
Exactly.
Or 37 towns, 52 police departments. I don't know. Something crazy like that.
Right.
But it's just like these small communities of people who are just got each other's back.
And I love it. And again, I'm trying to get the hell out of the cold now. It get cold up here now.
I don't blame you.
When it's all said and done, I probably, because your bones be hurting, bro. I mean, shit.
I'll be honest with you, Ty. I've never hit anything in my life as hard as you've hit that. So
like you work out.
This is all show muscle. This just looks good in the shirt. That's all that is.
So
I never hit nothing hard in my life.
So when y'all retire, y'all gonna stay right here in New England?
No, I'll come down if you're inviting us. Let's go. I'll bring the vodka.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I'll bring them all from here.
I'm retiring. I'm going down there, but I'm gonna always keep. Something here. Say my kids go to school here. My son is at University of Michigan now.
That's amazing.
Daughter's working. I have a daughter in LA, which I'll be going, next weekend. So I like LA too, but I'm more of an East Coast guy.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. So how about giving us your best Boston accent?
Right. I'm from I've got a little hood. How about the car? Wait, hold on. Got the fucking car. That's like, where the R at? Where the R at? The fucking car. That fucking car.
I love that. Are you big into movies? You big movies? Okay.
Yes.
So you got a favorite Boston-based or New England-based film? We got most. I always say Boston because that's where a lot of them are, but there are a lot of films that have been made throughout New England.
You know what? I like the mob-based Boston films. It's something about, that. And people don't realize a lot of that was Rhode Island, too. You know what I mean? Rhode Island, you go to Atwell's Avenue, it still give you that feel, that mafioso feel up there.
So Vin here, his wife and his in-laws are all North Providence Italian.
Okay. I live in North Providence. That's where I live at, Lincoln, North Providence.
They're going to love that. Yep, there you go. And Ryan's in North Providence.
Oh, you're North Providence? Okay, that's what's up, man.
So funny that you say that, because they're gonna love to hear that. See, I fucking told you.
Yeah.
We don't fuck.
The great Italian food too there too, man. Rhode Island is one of those little hidden gems that people, because when you think of New England, you think of Boston, you think of Massachusetts.
Right.
That's the first thing that comes to your mind. But Rhode Island is one of those little hidden gems, man. They got, great culture, great food. You got different ethnicities. You know what I mean? You have the Cape Verdean. Which is, around New England. So, my kids is Cape Verdean. You talking about, you got the Dominicans, you got your Italians, your Greek, your black, white. It's like a melting pot of everything in Rhode Island, but people don't think about it, like that, because Boston is so big and it's so
just swallows up all the city talk for the whole of New England, even though we've got cities in every state.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And now doing business, hanging out in New Hampshire has been awesome too, man.
Love
New Hampshire is, New Hampshire is cool as hell, man. You know what I mean?
That's where all your New England Patriot fans that are in the 300 section are from. All the New Hampshire. That's where. So if you want to know where the diehard Pats fans are, they're the ones who are up in New Hampshire.
That's the most fun up there.
But we were also
it really
fucking
is.
It is, man. You go up there in the Hampton Beach area, you got the Portland and Portsmouth, man.
Beautiful
it's cool
area.
because I mean, just when I was playing, I didn't go but pretty much Massachusetts, Rhode Island, go through Connecticut when you're going to New York or whatnot. But man, it is really amazing around here. You can get a little bit of everything if you just know where to go in New England. So it's like I'm perfectly, fine, being right here until it get cold. You know what I mean? This is home.
And it's
Awesome.
always the places you wouldn't expect either. Like that
Yeah.
little small hole in the wall spot, bangs.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute.
Yeah,
What have you been
yeah.
saying lately? What's the word you've been saying you're not supposed to say because you're too old to be saying it?
Cap? I say
No,
cap,
that's
and you hate
stupid.
that.
Gas.
Oh,
Oh, it's gas.
no, that spot is gas.
He's just not with it. That's all. He's just not.
You gotta get up on it, man.
Yeah,
Get
it's
on the
just-
slang.
I like to stay in my time with my verbiage.
Right.
It's cool.
You know what it is? It's because I listen to Wiggy in the morning. I listen. When you call in, I hear Wiggy, and I just like Wiggy be giving out the slang. So
Yeah. Wiggy is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Wiggy
He's
is
great.
we had him on when we were at the Matt Light Foundation, and we had him
Uh-huh.
on, and he was just freaking
Yeah.
hysterical. That's when we learned about the three-way, roast
beef.
beef and stuff.
Yep.
For the first time. So have you ever had?
three-way roast beef?
Yeah. Have you ever had Oneyville since you're in Rhode Island? Oneyville hot wieners. Okay. Yeah. So we asked him if you'd ever had three all the way, which in Rhode Island slang is Oneyville hot wieners. But three all the way to him from being a North Shore
after
guy.
you
is-
say that, you're supposed to say pause. That's what they say. Yeah, I say it for you. God damn. I mean, but it's crazy that they do that. I think that game is funny as shit myself. But yeah, Oliver, yeah, they got the wings. Like everybody got their little preferred, foods. You know what I mean? They call it a wiener. Yeah, we call it a hot dog back home where I come from. That's a damn hot dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you had coffee milk?
Huh? Yep.
What do you
Had
think
that
of
too.
coffee milk?
It's different. It's different. You probably go, you drink too much of it, you better run home to the bathroom.
Yeah, 100%. Well, can I count on you to maybe come out with a coffee milk vodka for us?
I don't think that's gonna happen. But
I might start drinking.
I
it.
do.
You
I do
that.
have a vanilla in a cucumber in the back burner, but that's like that's just it might be a seasonal thing if I ever did it. But like I said, I want to be known for the quality of the vodka, not just the flavor of vodka. Anybody coming out with just flavors is
right.
about quality. So I tried to do it right the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that.
There's brands for that.
Awesome.
I got names for that.
Yeah. Awesome time. Well, this has been like incredible. Like I
This is
said, this has
amazing.
just been such a surreal experience for all of us as Patriots fans, as fans of yours, and just in general to have such a genuine conversation with you.
Thank
So
you,
we
man.
appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, appreciate you
Congratulations
having
on the success here.
Oh, yeah.
We're very happy that we share the state of Rhode Island with you as a couple
yeah.
of roadie boys here. So
Oh, okay.
this is awesome.
So
yeah.
where y'all live at right now?
I'm in Warwick.
Oh, you're in work. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I live in the tip of, technically it's Mystic, Connecticut, though.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We
Yeah.
all grew up in Westerly.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
so
West
y'all
League.
been to my trampoline parks over there. I mean, you seen that before? Launch?
The launch.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
launch is yours?
Yeah. I created Launch. Yeah.
I'm going to launch after this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Even
That was
more
that was
reason.
my first foray into entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I ain't know
Oh,
what
that's
the hell
awesome.
was doing and all that stuff, but I knew I wanted to do my own thing. So again, like this, put up my own cash to go out there. But you're back. I'm back there. Behind the counter, taking the money, singing kids happy birthday, you know what I mean? Going out. So it was funny that the kids ain't know who the hell I was.
Right, right.
It was the parents that knew, but
Right, yeah.
and after the kids, some of them figured out I was the guy that played with Tom Brady. That's when I knew it was time to that damn go. I was in there for 7 years. I started with one store and sold it at 36 locations. I had 36 open locations. Myself and my partner, and had 77 sold, but I sold it 30 days before COVID, bro.
Ooh.
Yeah, 30 days before COVID got in. And some people like, oh, that's so smart. Bullshit, that was luck.
Yeah.
That was luck all day. That way it wasn't that smart because I was already on my way. I had 7. Like, started with one store. So then I started franchising them out. So, most people as athletes, we go in as the franchisee.
Right.
I was the franchisor. So I created the brand from inception into where we start, franchising them out to other people. So, get that percentage. Basically like McDonald's do with Burger King.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So, but sitting on that
Smart.
side, you see it from a different perspective, and that's the side you want to be on, damn it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell
If you
yeah.
can.
Amen to that.
But yeah,
That's
y'all got
great.
kids?
No kids. No kids for us yet.
Huh?
At least none that have come forward. So
Oh yeah.
knock on wood there.
Okay. No for you either?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
Not
All
for
right.
me.
That's
No
what's
kids
up.
yet, but
okay.
one
Yeah,
day.
y'all borrow one of mine. I got 5.
And we'll teach them a lesson. First time I take my kids into lunch, be like, let me teach you about how this place got started.
Yeah, exactly. And they so involved. Like, it's crazy because when I first started, it was like about 850 to trampolines and all that. Man, you can't do that no more. You got to go. You got to have laser tags. You got to have.
Yeah, the one on Bald Hill in Warwick is crazy. It's got everything
alleys,
bowling.
You know, some of them had go-kart tracks. You know, you had so many things that you got to bring the full entertainment. You know, now the VR. Then we put in the cafe. First, the cafe was some bullshit. I ain't gonna lie. You know, but you get tired of, you know, when you start looking at the business, you get tired of people coming in and going somewhere else to eat. You got to keep them there.
Yeah.
So then we end up getting, you know, beer and wine license. You know, we got to keep the parents there, give them free Wi-Fi.
Right.
Let's keep the Wi-Fi. They keep the parents there. What they gonna do? They working. Here, go play.
Yeah.
$2 go. You know what I mean? So you just this the entrepreneurial journey, man, has always been something that I wanted to do, and I was like, y'all not cutting me no damn more. I didn't get cut 3 times. I'm in the Hall of Fame. I got cut 3 times. So, you know, I say fired. You know, they like to say released. Damn it, we got fired. You know, 3 times. You know, in the NFL. So I was like, when I'm done, I'm doing all the damn hiring and firing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm bringing the pink slips.
Again. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the hardest thing for me to do was have to fire somebody on my team or fire one of my employees, man. I thought, man, I was actually looking forward to this shit, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. You know, I was looking forward. I can't wait to fire me somebody's ass. Hey, I can't wait till they mess up. I didn't get fired. I'm gonna get you back, right? Get somebody. And man, that's a tough thing to do, bro. I mean, because if you got any type of heart in it might not just be right for that position. You know what I mean? But they're working their butts off and they're trying, but it's just not in. You got to let them go. And, you know, people got families, man. I thought it would be easier than what it was. So that's the thing that I don't like to do. Unfortunately, you have to do it. But, you know, I took no pleasure in that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's got to be difficult.
That's rough.
I'm so curious, like with these locations, like, do you have any funny stories to share about like dads that would come in that want to talk sports and football with you while you were trying to work? Like, I just know there's one guy that swears he was this close.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Rhode Islander or a Mass guy that's like, Ty, I would have been your fucking teammate if it wasn't for this one knee. Yeah. Fucking Johnny Tabrowski came out, took out my fucking leg.
It's always the knee. It's always the knee that David's the knee up and all that stuff. And like I said, you never... No, you can't dispute it, but you entertain the conversation because I know some guys that were really like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, to be honest with you, when I was seeing some of the sports, you know, up here in the high school sports, I'm like, no, it's not.
We're the education capital of the world for a reason.
So, I mean, like you might have 1 or 2 come out, but every year we putting out, you know, top tier talent, you know what I mean? So I can see
there are just hotbeds elsewhere. It's not
top tier talent is, you know what I mean? You look across the locker room. I mean, like, you know, how many guys was, you know, from Rhode Island, like, that's in the locker room?
Only Rhode Island guy I know is Will Blackman.
Yeah, Will Blackman.
Yeah,
he's
one.
Quiddy Pay, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You'll have some, but here and there, but it's not like
Isn't Alex Alex Alonso?
Who's that?
He's a linebacker. Are we talking about guys from Rhode Island or New England that played in the pros?
I'm just talking about just New England.
That
play in the pros. Like, it's not consistent. So when you're looking at the talent,
100%.
when, like your story, when people come talk to you about that, I'm sitting there like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. But I ain't seen nothing that really impressed me.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Not saying that it couldn't be, but just overall, the talent pool isn't the same. Like,
no, we ain't got the genetics around here, man.
I mean?
They all look like, there's one Julian Edelman to ever exist, and the rest of us just look like him. We're all built like him, but he's the only one that was ever a freak athlete enough to ever make it, and he ain't even from here. So
you know, I mean, like I said, you can find them everywhere, but like I said, it's the level of competition week in and week out, you know, day in and day out. That's what, like, Florida, Texas, you know, Pennsylvania, you know, where I'm from, California, you know, Ohio. That's real football. Now, I think they do better in the city up in basketball around here, but when it comes to football, the game of football, you know, you got some good schools, you know, in Mass. You might have your, you know, your LaSalle and Hendricken and Rhode Island, but outside of those two, you know, who's the powerhouse?
Not many I can think
That's
of.
it.
That's
There's
it.
Hendricken and LaSalle, right?
You might get a couple of guys every
So you got like
couple,
St. Andrew, but that's a prep
gonna
school.
say
It's in
St.
Barrington, but
Ray's.
that's a prep school. It's not like a public school.
The best player to come out of St. Ray's is a coach now, so.
That's true. Yeah.
Who was that?
Stanley Dunbar.
See, never heard of him.
Yeah.
See?
Phenomenal coach, though, if you're watching. Great coach.
Right.
I just figured there had to have been a couple of funny stories of guys trying to tell you that they
Oh, yeah.
or someone coming in and being like, you know what you guys should have done.
Now, I would rather hear somebody talk about themselves and what they thought they could have did, and before you come and tell me what we should have done or as a player what you should do.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people out there that tell you what you should do. How do you know if you never made it past the Pop Warner level? You know,
Right.
Well, how could you sit there and even have, you know, that take or that opinion? You know what I mean? So
Crazy.
But people have it all the time, but you got to
We
just
call that
know-
New
you
England
can't- you
delusional
can't be-
confidence.
You can't be rude to people or nothing like that. That's not what it's about. But some people be dead serious and be all in on whatever this crazy ass opinion that you got right now. It's like, it's amazing how convinced they are when they're saying it completely wrong. It has, I mean, I've heard stuff that is just, where did you get that from?
Yeah. I don't think people understand as players too, like you 99.9% of the time, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I messed up on that one play.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
We're in Gillette Stadium in front of thousands of people playing a game in the rain. I know I messed up. You ain't gotta tell
guess
me.
What? And I look at it like this: those guys get paid too. So yes, we get paid to do a job, and sometimes I think it gets taken out of context when we say we're going to work. You know, like, are you going to practice? No, I'm going to work.
That's work,
This is my job.
Right.
You know what I mean? So being that the other guy over there that you're competing against getting paid too, he's expected to win, just like you expect to win. So you're not going to win every time. It's not a defensive back in NFL history that I know of that hasn't been beaten. And I think, you know, you're talking about the GOAT, Deion Sanders. He's been beaten. Plenty. You know, another one, greatest all, I mean, one they want me. Rod Wilson, I think he get lost in the conversation.
So
Bad
true.
boy. You know what
So
I mean?
true.
Rod, man, can't get no better than that. I don't even put myself in there with those guys. Those guys are the hierarchy. Guess what? They all got an ass whooping every now and again.
It happens.
It happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I saw something the other day. It was Tom. He was talking to somebody about something, and he was like, "Yeah, I might throw 300 or 400 passes in a season, but realistically, 20 of them are good." And I'm like, "You threw 40 touchdowns; those were good."
No, sometimes you got to get a receiver credit for making that happen.
100%.
Was that a great
100%.
throw, or it was a great play by Julian when he came and caught it for one.
yeah.
And sometimes you saved the quarterback. You know what I mean? Sometimes the quarterback saves you. That putting it right there that you don't have to do no work. But a lot of times, you know, those receivers making those incredible catches.
Yep.
You know, with that type of athleticism.
Oh yeah.
Guess what? That goes on the quarterback stat sheet.
It does.
Exactly.
It does.
We were at Gillette Stadium one time doing stuff for the Patriots where I was making some content, and we were on the field and it was windy. They were just building the brand new atrium and the brand new scoreboard. So this was after Mac Jones' rookie season. And when we were playing pass in the wind, there was just a few times I tried to throw, couldn't get it more than 10 yards with accuracy all over the place. And then he threw one against the wind at me. And I was like, that fucking hurt my hands. And I thought to myself, never, ever, ever, ever again from this point moving forward will I ever complain about a missed catch or a missed tackle, because I'm 5'8", about 200 pounds at best. There's no chance that someone like Jules, who's close in my size, going 15 miles an hour over the middle, knowing that there's someone like Ray Lewis about to take his fucking head off.
Right.
And also, this is the most important catch of your career, because if you catch this, we go to the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl. I'm like, and then if it's dropped, you know, some 400-pound guy that can't move. Oh, Jules, you gotta fucking catch that, dude. It's like, I'll never complain again because it was unreal.
But you know what? I think on the flip side, if you paying your money to come see, you supposedly to say whatever the hell that you need to say. If you paying your money and you gonna have a good time, hey, you know what I mean? Hey, we got to be able to take it too. You know what I mean? I just don't like when, you know, when people, fans or whatnot, spectator, or just people that just want to, what do they call them? When they come just to talk shit, just to talk shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those guys.
Instigating.
Like a heckler?
Yeah, a heckler. You know, those hecklers, those guys get on your damn nerves, and you want to. But guess what? They paid their money a ticket. We've been blessed to do something that, you know, most people only dream of or just can't do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it comes with the territory. You know, the bigger you are, the more criticism that you're going to open yourself up to. You know what I mean? Once you set a standard so high, you know, so if Tom threw an interception in a critical situation, it's going to be talked about more because of it's Tom Brady.
Right.
If I gave up, you know, a touchdown in a critical situation, it's going to be talked about more because it's me, because of the standard that I've already set for myself and the expectation that people already have of me as a player. You know what I mean? So,
it's expected that you make that play.
The harder you're going to fall, you know what I mean?
So
but
true.
hey, it comes with the territory, and we got to deal with it. And I just try to encourage the athletes, understand the position that we in. You can't get mad at them. Just ignore it and keep it moving. If they get too close, touch it, and that's different. But if it's just words, man, it's best to just walk away and not even get into, the confrontation with them.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Only time it's acceptable is when it's against any sort of New York fan. It's the only time we allow it around here. Ty, this has been absolutely incredible, brother. Thank you so much for jumping on with us. We really appreciate it. Where can everyone get your vodka? It's in all across New England liquor stores?
It's all across New England. And like I said, if it's not in the liquor store, demand it or just walk out. Ask for it, you know what I mean? But, I have some great parts. I got to say this too, we have 110 Grill. I want to give a shout out to them because they was the first that really took on Corvus and believed in it and put it in all their locations. So I'm always forever grateful to the guys at 110 Grill. They've been awesome. But now we have 99, and we talk about Tavern on the Square. MGM out in Hampton, up in New Hampshire. Bernie's and the Golden, Al and those guys. Davio's.
Love that, man.
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
Legal Seafoods, all of them, all Big Night. Everything, all Big Night is rocking with Corvus. Shout out to Ed Kane, Randy, and those guys. My homegirl Jen. So it's just been, awesome. To be able to, be accepted like that and so many places. Patriot Place too. Got the stadium. Had to go down there.
Love it.
Yeah.
And are you active on social? If people want to follow you, to keep in touch, because obviously you're doing an event here at MGM.
Official Ty Law. We're gonna, we have the Corvus social media, but it's like we about to ramp that up. Somebody's about to take over that stuff, so we're gonna do a lot better. But go to official Ty Law, and you can follow us and see what we're doing, how we getting down, man.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
All right, folks. That's going to conclude episode 47 of the So New England podcast. Please always remember, life's better in New England.